Hi, I'm Dr. Elliot Adam from ElliotOracle.com. I'm also the author of Fearless Tarot, How to Give a Positive Reading in Any Situation, which is out now from Llewellyn Books. And if you like my approach to tarot and my tarot interpretations, this book is going to up your tarot game to the next level. So you do want to check that out. It's time for this week's Oracle Reveal. So earlier today on Instagram, I placed up a photo of 3 different animals, and the animals were the rhino, the elephant, or the bobcat. And I asked you to use your intuition and just ask yourself which animal was getting stuck in your head, because that animal has a message for you today. And so for those of you who picked the rhino spirit, it says overcome any obstacle. And when we see rhino, it could just be that it's a time to get attracted to just getting the job done, just pushing ahead, going and ramming ahead full force, and just getting it finished instead of waffling and vacillating and wondering if it's the right time to move or not. Rhino cuts through procrastination, so this could be a good day for you to really get your focus back on track. The first card for Rhino is where it's best for them to place their focus this next week. And we get the World card, which is always a card of graduation, completion. Again, that feeling of getting the job done is so important with the World card. So you might want to ask yourself, what am I afraid to complete right now? What finish line am I not allowing myself to cross over because I'm afraid that if I do go over the finish line, even if I'm successful, it means everything's going to change. The World card gives you that courage to really, just move across that finish line, finish the job, tie up the loose ends, and graduate to the next level of your development. The World Goddess also holds 2 white magic wands. Unlike the magician who holds just one in his right hand, this goddess holds 2, one in her left hand as well. And this means that she's not just good at sending or manifesting something in the outside world, but she's also allowing herself to receive. She's mastered the art of receptivity. So this could be a time too where you're really balancing how much you're giving versus how much you're allowing and how much you're accepting. Advice from your inner wisdom this next week if you picked Rhino. Wow, the High Priestess herself. So this is a pretty powerful week for you. When we see 2 major arcana cards, especially these 2 goddesses here, or goddess archetypes, this could be a time where you really want to trust your instincts. You really want to trust that inner knowing, that inner perception, especially when it has to do with completions and also rites of passage. These are both cards of initiation, rites of passage, moving on to the next phase. Both of these goddesses here are telling you you have nothing to be afraid of by completing the job that's in front of you. In fact, it's going to open you to more wonders than you can even imagine. And then finally, we have the mythic archetype that can help you if you picked the Rhino spirit, and we got Clotho. She's the youngest of the 3 fates, the goddesses who weave your destiny. Clotho is the one who spins your life thread. And so this could be a time where you're starting to spin your own life thread, where you're really reinventing what direction you're going to be taking your life in. We don't have any guarantees for how long we're going to be here, but Clotho says, use this strand of life that I'm giving you and use it to the fullest. Make sure that you're not stopping yourself from your greatest successes and from your greatest breakthroughs. That's what you're down here to do. Not to be afraid, not to avoid, but instead to get out there, get the job done, and also make your life impactful in some manner. Second, we have the elephant spirit, and it says, learn from the past. And the old saying, the elephant never forgets, comes to mind here. Elephants are also matriarchal creatures. So this could be a time to really honor your feminine ancestors or your female lineage, or also learn from your mothers, your grandmothers, your great-grandmothers throughout your history to really inform how to give yourself courage at this time, how to move forward. First card for Elephant is where it's best for them to place their focus this next week. And wow, there's the Empress, who is totally the matriarchal, central high goddess figure in the tarot. Again, the mothers, the grandmothers, it seems like there's something important here with Elephant with that. Might be a time to honor your mother in some way, or get in touch with female figures that you really look up to or respect, or even if they passed on, maybe remember them in another way through prayer prayer or doing some sort of like a ritual or something. The Empress is also a nurturing card, though, so she's telling you that your best shield going into the world this next week is really love. It's going to be elevating that energy and not allowing yourself to worry. Everything's growing in the Empress's garden in its appropriate, abundant time. And she's just promising that by the time you get to spring, you're going to see a lot of evidence for the faith you've had in the seeds you've been tending. Second, we're going to have advice from your inner wisdom if you picked the Elephant card and we got the Four of Cups. Now, this card says, accept good things when they're being offered to you. The figure on the Four of Cups is closed down. He's got his arms crossed, his legs are crossed. He's thinking about problems. He's worried about the future. He's worried about the past. He's totally not being present. The Empress, on the other hand, is totally present. She's totally aware of this moment, and she's soaking in the radiant golden sky. When we see the Four of Cups, it's saying if you're too much in your head, if you're worried about possible calamities, or this might happen or that might happen, well, you're missing the miracle that's being offered to you right at this moment. We got that hand coming out of a cloud offering you a golden cup. And so this is a time to accept the good things that are right in front of your nose that you're not going to be able to see if you're stuck in your head too much. So get out of your head. And then finally, we have the mythic archetype that will help you if you pick the Elephant, and we got the Four Winds. The Four Winds can represent change, and they can represent that a new breeze is blowing in your life. The Four Winds were different archetypes for different sorts of energies, like the West Wind was the wind of love, and the South Wind was the wind of warmth. And so what you might have right now is a crossroads where you're wondering, what direction do I go in? And the answer is simple. Go where the momentum is. Go where the winds are already blowing. When the Four Winds show up, they indicate that the winds are at your back right now. And that if you're worried about, well, what do I do? And will I screw it up? And how will this go? You need to just stop it. And you need to just sense, be present. Where's the wind blowing? I'm going to go in that direction. Actually, it looks like that's going to open up some wonderful things for me. And finally, the Four Winds are an air element. So this could be a time to be cerebral, logical, and be dispassionate right now instead of being overly emotional, brooding, or upset or sad. And then finally, we have the Bobcat animal, which is also the lynx. And it says life is the mystery. And when we see Bobcat, this could be a time where you're really trusting the mystery. Also, it's a good archetype if you're attracted to it for doing divination on yourself or for other people. But it's time to go beneath the surface when we see Bobcat. First card for Bobcat is where it's best for them to place their focus this next week. And the Three of Wands shows up, which means that the sky is the limit. This figure's looking out over the ocean, and the waters are glowing orange with sunrise or sunset. And that just indicates that the sun is setting on one aspect of his life, but it's also possibly rising on another. And when we see the Three of Wands, it indicates that your life is not screwed up yet, despite your worst fears. It's wide open and waiting. It is going to be dependent on the decisions you're making right now. So this is a card of charting a course, looking ahead, going the distance. Second, we have advice from your inner wisdom, and we got the Hangman card. And Hangman card, a lot of people wince when they see them. They think it's going to be a bad thing. But the Hangman is undergoing temporary discomfort for a major breakthrough. He's abandoning the use of his legs for a moment to hang upside down from the branches of the Tree of Wisdom. And as he's hanging upside down, his head is starting to glow. All the energy is pulling to his head. And this is saying you need a different perspective. You need to look at old problems in a different way. You might also need to make some sacrifices right now. That could be sacrificing time or energy, but it also could be sacrificing old habits that just no longer serve you. Although this is an uncomfortable process, the Hangman doesn't look comfortable. He's also not suffering. I mean, his face is pretty neutral. And so this is a time to just accept what needs to be let go of at this time and look at it from a different vantage point. And then finally, the mythic archetype that will help you is Hephaestus, the god of work. He's the god of the forge. This could be a time to get creative. It could also be a time to really be focused on your work And also go beneath the surface with your work. When we see lynx and you mix that up with Hephaestus, this could be a really creative time, but you got to go deeper. You got to reach deep within yourself and see things from a different angle, a different perspective. This might be a time to challenge old assumptions. And that is this week's Oracle. I do hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, you can always schedule a reading with me at elliotoracle.com. Otherwise, I hope you check out Fearless Tarot, and I will see you all next week. Take care.